I have something to present to the court of public opinion, so feel free to give your input. There is something in the visceral response from men, from divestment movements like 4B and picking the bear over the man, in the social consciousness of these online conversations that we're having. Men who claim that they don't care and that women are unreasonable and irrational and all this here, etc., don't have anything nice to say about women, antagonize women in online spaces because they are afraid of apathy from women. They will totally claim that they don't care about what women think about them, but will go out of their way to get women's attention because they understand the dangers of apathy. Being able to elicit any emotional response while understanding the power and passion that can be behind anger is exactly what is feeding them in a way that gives them some sort of maybe like insurance that these women who are willing to argue with them and come into their lives, their live streams, to be degraded and be talked over and ignored and all this here, they feel like they can rest assured that because they angered a woman, that will somehow keep her away from being apathetic towards men. The problem is, the baseline flaw of this logic is that the women that have already decided to be apathetic towards men are not talking to them. And the women who are talking to them have not decided to be apathetic towards men. I think that there might be a misunderstanding that these divester movements, be it 4B, man versus bear, whatever we're going to call it next. Back in the day, we called it WGTOW. The goal for any of these movements is not to be apathetic towards men, but that can be a woman's personal goal. A while ago, I said that the world is in the state that it's in because men aren't afraid of women. But based on these conversations I've been seeing recently, I have reason to believe that the world is in the state that it's in is because men are so afraid of women that they need to dominate them and control them. Like, not just on a big legislative level, like we're seeing with Roe v. Wade and all this other stuff, but just even to the smaller levels, the ground level that we're all on, of all these conversations of men feeling that they need to go out of their way to bash women, when really, they're not bashing the women who have already decided to throw them away. When you develop apathy towards someone, you don't spend any time talking to them on a TikTok live or any other medium. You don't spend your time with them outside of the time that you're getting paid to, or the time that it directly serves you personally, like you need to order food from them or something like that. I personally, as an AFAB demi-boy myself, don't plan on developing apathy towards men, be they transgender or cisgender, anytime soon. But I don't blame anybody who does. I do not blame anybody for developing apathy against any oppressive class, including the oppressive classes that benefit from the patriarchy. The manosphere has developed its own subsection of an economy called male empowerment podcasts, where men pay other men to talk bad about women more than they talk about empowering other men. You can't convince me that men aren't afraid of apathy because they're constantly poking at women's anger to make sure that they're still angry and they haven't decided to just leave men alone as a whole. Now, we can have plenty of women's separatist movements. We can have plenty of celibacy and abstinence movements. I don't know if there'll ever be anything powerful enough to make someone develop apathy towards a group, however. But, given what happened in Germany a few years ago, that shit could happen again. And the fact that it is in world history where we have seen what happens when a large enough group has apathy towards another group, and the violence that group is willing to let happen to that group because they don't care about them, that's something to be afraid of. Like, men are very afraid of women's apathy. And on the other hand, women aren't as afraid of men's apathy because women want men to leave them alone. And that upsets them. Outside of any services that they may need, like I said, like, food or grocery delivery or anything like that. Anybody can do that, but if a man just so happens to show up, whatever. And let's be honest, it could be another man, because the guy who did all that horrible stuff to a specific group of people all the way those years ago back in Germany was genetically half of the people that he did that to from on his mom's side. So if a man were to come along and be like, hey, yo, the men ain't menning, let me take over, let me do what it do. And the women developed apathy towards the men and be like, yeah, all right, if you got this, we'll sit back. And as long as he never bothered those women, let him do whatever he wants to the men in pure, unadulterated apathy. And you can't say that it can't happen because it's already happened before. As a matter of fact, under similar, if not worse, economic times than the United States is having right now. Let's really think about it. After Roe v. Wade was overturned, there was a Facebook group of men planning to go do very inhumane things to women in Texas that they had already picked out. And there's no woman who's ever done that. There's also that group of military personnel, which was men, sharing pictures of their women counterparts and other women that they had been intimate with and making fun of them, like threatening to do inhumane things to them, speaking very poorly of them. No women have done that. Like, systemically speaking and socially speaking, women don't have a reason to defend men. So yes, that could happen. Cults are run by men. Most major religions are run by men. The list goes on, right? And the few cults that were run by women got shut down because when a woman does it, they know how to catch on. What say you, court of public opinion, about pretty much everything that I've said? Any point that you would like to address, all or one? It started off with men are afraid of women's apathy and went into a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, address whatever you want to address. Thank you.